y'all, welcome back to my channel. So first things first, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And for all my returning subscribers, hey y'all. So boom, let's just get right into it. So as y'all know, I gave birth to my beautiful baby girl. And this video is pretty much just going to talk about my postpartum, like one month postpartum update. And then you can expect the birth story and the birth vlog very, very soon. So let's just get right into it. So postpartum, how am I feeling? So let's just talk about it. Postpartum is, it's a roller coaster in itself. Like pregnancy was a roller coaster, but postpartum is a roller coaster. It's like, just imagine your hormones going up and then down and then back up and then back down. It's just like a fluctuation of emotions. Let's just talk about how I felt after birth. So I had an episiotomy, and that's when you have to get stitched up after giving birth. Basically, your homegirl tears and they have to stitch her back up. And so basically, I had to go through all of that. And so it was very, very sore down there. I don't know why I didn't think about that. I guess that's because everyone just talks about like the labor and the birth and the delivery and everything. So you're not really focused on what to expect after all of that. But girl, I was really, really sore down there, like very sore. I could barely walk. I was so sore. And personally me, after taking all of the epidural and stuff, I didn't want to get a lot of medicine. Like they offered me Percocet and they offered me Motrin, and I took Motrin, and that helped, I guess, a little bit. But anyway, so you come home and you're just very sore. And so what you can expect is like, you'll come home and they teach you how to do everything in the hospital. But basically, peeing is a whole process. When you go to the bathroom, it's a whole entire process, especially after an episiotomy. So basically, they give you this like this bottle. It's like a squeezy bottle, and you have to fill it with water. You can't wipe for they tell you don't wipe pretty much. They tell you don't wait for about 2 weeks. Like you just have to pat for real. But honestly, me personally, I didn't wipe for like a little bit longer than that. I probably didn't wipe for like 3 weeks, probably until like I really just stopped bleeding. I just didn't wipe because I didn't want to have any tissue left with all the blood. I just didn't want to have to I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. So you take the squeezy bottle and then you'll just squeeze. You'll fill it up with warm water and then you squeeze, all down there, just to clear everything up. And they say that's just the most sanitary way to do it. So that's what I did. And then when you shower, you're not supposed to like wash down there because you can just, take the stitches out or whatever. They said you can expect for stitches to fall out in the bathtub and stuff like that. You can't take a bath for 2 weeks, but you can shower. So I would shower, and what I would do was I would just stay in the shower, and I would pretty much just like hold everything open and just let the water flow down there and rinse everything thoroughly. I did that for about 2 weeks. And then as I started to feel myself healing as the month went on, I would wash like closer and closer to my homegirl. I would wash closer and closer to her. But I would not like you're not supposed to like wash in there anyway, but a good like scrubbing, no, not yet. Just wait for that. I'm pretty much at that point now where I can do like a good like scrub and all that type of stuff. But yeah, so that is the healing process postpartum wise. And you just stay sore for about, I think I was sore for about like 2 full weeks. I was just really sore. It was a lot for me to just get up. It's like the area between like your homegirl and your booty hole. That area is kind of sore. It feels like feels like you got punched in it. And it's just really sore whenever you try to like stand up, whenever you're walking. But it's not too bad. It's really not that bad. You can still do what you got to do. Me personally, the hardest part after was using my abs. Like, it was really, really difficult to use my abs afterwards. That was probably the most difficult part. My abs were sore. Like, my whole stomach was sore. That was just the most uncomfortable part. And then, yeah, so I bled for 4 days, not including the time in the hospital. So I didn't bleed very long. Afterwards, I was just spotting a little bit. And then I was spotting for a little bit, and then it just turned it was bright pink spotting, and then it was like brown spotting, and then it was clear, like within 2 weeks. When I tell you it was clear within like 2 weeks, I was like, okay, like I'm healing fast. This is the bomb. Like, this is fine. I'm healing really, really fast. I breastfed, so my stomach was going down. Breastfeeding after pregnancy hurts, okay? It contracts your uterus again, so you start to experience cramps all over again. And it's like, while your baby is feeding, you're cramping. Like, and it only happens when she's feeding. It doesn't happen afterwards or anything. It just happens when she's feeding. So like the whole time she's feeding, I'm just cramping. That probably happened for about like a week and a half after. And then the cramping went away. The first couple days, you're not producing any milk. So baby is hungry. So she is like wanting food every 15 minutes. And I wasn't considering using formula at first. I'm like, I'm gonna breastfeed. I'm just doing breastfeeding solely, like exclusively breastfeeding. So at first, we didn't have any formula in the house. We didn't have anything. We're in the house. This is like our second night home, I want to say. And when I tell you, this little girl was eating every 15 minutes, my nips were on fire. They were on fire. They hurt to the point where I had to tell my boyfriend, like, let's go. We're getting ready to go and get some formula right now. Like, come on, let's go. I cannot take this. Like, I'm done. I'm done breastfeeding. I'm not breastfeeding anymore. My boyfriend was like, babe, like, just push through. Just push through. You got this. Like, they said it's gonna feel better. Whoop, whoop. I'm like, no. Let's go. It was like 4 a.m. I'm like, find a 24-hour CVS and we're getting some formula. But then like your mom instinct kind of kicks in and you're like, okay, let's just consult with the doctor before we switch things up here. So we ended up waiting, and we had the doctor's appointment literally like the next, like not the next day, but the day after. Or was it the next day? No, I don't even think it was the next. I think it was the day after. The day after that. But so I thugged it out for another night, and then we went to the doctor, and the doctor told us, yeah, that's fine. Like, yeah, you can mix, you could do formula and you could do breast milk, or you could do all formula. And I was just considering mixing. So they gave us some samples to see if the formula would, she would take the formula well. Basically, she would digest the formula, and she would just be able to take that. And she did perfectly fine with that. But literally that night, my breast milk came in. So we didn't even use the formula for probably about another like 4 days, because my breast milk came in and she was getting full. So she would nap. It wasn't every 15 minutes anymore. It was probably like every 45 minutes to an hour. But it was still enough time in between to give my girls a break. And so I felt more comfortable breastfeeding. It didn't hurt as bad. Also, I think like over time, your nips will just kind of get a tolerance for it, and it just doesn't hurt as bad. So that's what to expect with that. Just definitely prepare for that. Now, I personally, they say really work with the lactation doctor when you're in the hospital, because I personally, like, my nips, they didn't crack, they didn't bleed, they didn't do any of that, because when I tell you, baby girl came out and she was a pro. This little girl knew more than me. Like, she came out ready to eat, so I didn't have to experience any of the, like, cracking of the nips or anything. So I didn't use, like, the ointment that some people will tell you to use. So yeah, so that's that. And then yeah, so everything went by pretty smooth. Like I was saying, my bleeding, like, stopped. It was like, I felt like I was ahead of the game. Like, I stopped bleeding after like 2 weeks. And what does happen is, and they don't tell you this, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention, I don't know. But basically, like, what I experienced was just a lot of mucus discharge. Like, even the blood that was coming out, it was combined with mucus. So yeah, I was bleeding, but it was more, and they weren't clots. It was just like a mucus discharge, and it would just be, I know TMI, but for all my new mommies and all my moms, y'all know what I'm talking about. And you're obviously here for a reason. So we're gonna get into it. But yeah, so it's like this mucusy discharge, and at first it's like red, bloody, and then it turns like lighter, and then it gets like more brownish, and then it gets clear. So it's just like clear discharge just coming out. And yeah, I think that's called lochia, spelled Lochia, I believe. I believe that's what that is. It's just like discharge and everything all mixed together coming out. They tell you, make sure, now I'm not a doctor, I do not have a medical degree, but this is just what my doctors told me. If you're passing blood clots bigger than a tennis ball, or a plum, like a small plum, call your doctor. If you start bleeding bright red blood after your 4th day postpartum, call your doctor. And so I have that experience. So basically, like I said, I was bleeding. I mean, I stopped bleeding after about 2 weeks, and then probably at about 4 weeks, at about 4 weeks exactly, I just started bleeding like bright red blood, and it was a lot. And I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Maybe this is just a healing process, whatever. But I was like, okay. So I just kind of, did my thing. I wasn't too worried about it before, because I'm like, okay, obviously I'm still healing. And then I just kept bleeding and kept getting heavier and heavier and heavier. So I called my doctor and I let her know what's going on. And they're like, okay, we're going to send an emergency message to your nurses and your doctors, and we will call you back and let you know what to do. And so they called me back and let me know. They were like, we want to bring you in tomorrow morning for an ultrasound to evaluate, just to make sure everything is okay. Basically what they check for is if anything from birth was left inside of you. So if any of the placenta, a piece of the placenta was still left inside, or if you're having bleeding into your uterus, or anything like that. So they just look for anything left inside, or any just abnormalities in your uterus. They did that, and they didn't see anything. Everything was great, thank goodness. But basically the doctor said normally people don't bleed like that. People don't start their period that early, but it's not impossible. And it's probably just a case of you starting your period early or your hormones. So I don't know if I said it earlier in the video. I don't believe I did. But after about 4 days home, maybe it was like about a week. Yeah, I think it was because we went in after a week, and then that's when we started using formula. What I would do is at night, I was just breastfeeding, because it was easier just to breastfeed at night instead of having to make a whole bottle. And then during the day, I would, like right before she went to sleep, and during the day, I would give her formula. And then all morning I would kind of breastfeed. So I guess with the switch up, my body kind of just started changing. So I stopped producing like breast milk, and I guess I started my period, because now I just feel a lot better. Emotionally, I think my emotions more so came from being tired, more so than like feeling like sad or hormonal. I think my emotions, I cried like maybe twice, but it was probably because I was tired. I think I was more so just exhausted. The one night I cried, I was just so exhausted. I'm like, and like, what people don't tell you is that afterwards, like, you just have this attachment. That's one thing that I just wasn't expecting, just to have this attachment to her. I couldn't leave the house. I couldn't like leave her for a long period of time. It took me a while to even trust like my boyfriend with her, like for me to leave the room. They don't tell you that as moms. Like, if you think about it, I was talking to my boss, because I was talking about returning back to work, and she was like, look, like, you have to understand, you've always been with her. Women, we're born with our eggs. We are born with all of the eggs that we'll ever have. So she was with me before like everything. She's always been with me. So this is making me emotional. But if you think about it, like, yeah, she's always been with me. So then, you know, her dad came in the picture and then fertilized everything. Then she's living inside of me, and I'm feeling her. She's with me everywhere I go. You know, I don't leave her at all. And then now she's outside of me. Like, so it's hard for me to like leave her, even to go into another room. Or my boyfriend was like, babe, go get some air. Go get some air. Like, leave the house, go get some air. You know, so when I was able to drive after 2 weeks, I tried to go. Literally, I almost had a breakdown. That's kind of difficult to deal with. But yeah, yeah, I think that's pretty much how I was emotionally. As time went on, I just kept practicing, kept leaving the house for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, now I'm going for an hour. But the one time I went to get my nails done, I was like, okay, it's gonna take like an hour and a half. Girl, I was in there for 3 hours. And after an hour and a half, I was like, oh no. Like, I was itching to get home. Like, literally itching. My breast started hurting. Like, I was just like itching to get home. And so that was, I guess I just wasn't mentally prepared for it to take 3 hours to get my nails and toes done. So yeah, so that's my postpartum experience. If y'all have any questions, y'all can ask me. You can DM me on Instagram. But it's been great. Motherhood is amazing. I wouldn't have it any other way. I can't even imagine my life without her now. Everything they say, love at first sight, mother instinct, all of that kicks in. Became very protective over my energy, who I allow in my space. And all of that, like, so, and it's just natural. It just happens. Like, you're just like, nope, I don't have time for that. Nope, I don't have time for you. Nope, you're acting shady. Nope, doop boop. So that's pretty much what's been going on this past month. You can expect a lot of videos from me. So stay tuned. And if y'all want to see a video from me, if you have any questions, let me know. And thank you so much for watching, all my moms, all my expecting moms. Congratulations. And I wish you the best if you're getting ready to give birth. I'm praying for you, and I'm sending you all good energy. I hope everything goes smooth and healthy. And yeah, you like, comment, and subscribe. And my Instagram is @JLindsay, Twitter @JLindsay. I'll put everything down below, and I will see y'all next time.